It'd be remiss of me not to say, obviously, Essendon Footy Club, how's the last couple of years been?
It's been quiet. Look, it's been incredibly challenging. Obviously, when you look at a PR disaster or a crisis management situation, most would last 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, potentially a week. This has been going for nearly 3 to 4 years. Probably the greatest brand challenge in Australian sport history, and we're still working our way through it. And it's something that's divided the football and the sporting community. It's certainly transcended sport as well. And it's been incredibly tough to work through it. Well, for the Essendon Football Club, going through what we were going through, our digital and social media was critical, because what we had was a situation where there was a lot of speculation, a lot of innuendo, a lot of half-truths, and there was also a lot of information that we didn't know. So there was very little we could say publicly from the club's point of view. So what we had to do was engage with our fans, and we had to do that in a way where we're talking to them, but we're also giving them an opportunity to talk to us. And that's where the digital and social media channels came into play. We were accessible, inclusive. We started a number of different forums and opportunities for them to talk to us. EFC Listens was a hashtag, an email, where people could literally write in and we would respond to every single person that asked a question about what was going on in the best way that we could. And that was really important for us, because we needed to make sure we were engaging with our fans.
So that's both just publicly on a social media channel, but also directly an email, anything?
Correct. Yep, correct. Just providing them with as much information as we possibly could at the time, because clearly there was a lot going on, and we needed to provide one of our key stakeholders, which is our membership base. This year again we've got over 56,000 paid members of the Essendon Football Club, an incredibly important stakeholder for our club. We need to provide them with as much information as we possibly could, but also give them the opportunity to talk to us. Yeah, there's about 40 in the marketing team now, which is all consumer business. It's also merchandise, membership, community, our digital, and our communications.
Of the big clubs, is that typical? Is that the sort of?
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, it's probably getting towards that. We're nowhere near Cricket Australia or AFL Media yet, the clubs, but certainly we're trying to resource as much as we can in this area, because it's such an incredibly important part of our business now. And how we talk to our fans and engage with our fans is critical to our success, and it's critical to the customer journey. It's critical to developing relationships, and it's the fabric of what our football club is our members and our supporters. So we need to make sure that we're giving them what they want. Yeah, well, we are somewhat limited. We obviously work under a framework that Telstra provides for all of the clubs. Effectively, there's 19 sites, including the AFL site. So in terms of innovation, in terms of digital products, in terms of what we can and can't do with flexibility, we are limited. There's no doubt about that. So we have to look at ways of generating access. I think the greater the access we can provide, the greater experience we can provide. That's greater accessibility to the club inside the four walls. That then leads, I think, to greater connection. We build the relationship, and then ultimately I think that leads to greater loyalty in the brand. We're all about that true fan, and that's someone who continually engages with the club across all different areas, and we want to provide them with an opportunity to come to the Essendon Football Club website or any of our digital and social channels, and be able to consume all of that content. But we also want to engage with them and make sure it's, for a long time, or for initially when I think, the social media phenomenon started, it was all about growth and it was all about numbers. And now it's very much about engagement. Obviously the numbers are important, and growth in numbers is important, and we're still experiencing significant growth across our social media channels. We've got more than 500,000 followers across our channels. Instagram alone, 160% year on year. Still, even Facebook, 17% year on year. Twitter, 50% in 1 year. So it's significant. I just think the days of people wanting to go to a website and read an article are long gone. People want to actually come and have an experience when they're coming to our digital channels, when they're visiting our app. They want to be able to ask questions. They want to be able to take part in competitions. They want to be able to send in their own content. They want to be able to talk to the Essendon Football Club, talk to the players. They want to share, they want to like, they want to do all of those things with content. They want to be involved in these online communities. And that is what engagement is, because what that does is it leads to loyalty, and that loyalty leads to going to games, buying merchandise, buying a membership. And that's what we want our fans to be able to feel, greater connection to the club.
So starting with content, because I started there, so obviously to get engagement you need content. What content does the club have control over, or the clubs?
We have control over all of our content.
Everything but the game, basically.
Everything except on game day, where obviously match vision. But yeah, we have control over all of our content from from Monday to Friday. At the stadium, it starts to get a little bit interesting. We are restricted by the broadcast. We are restricted by Telstra, who are the digital rights holder. But we do what we can to get around it. We've got a great digital media manager, Julian Wallace, who's here tonight, who's an absolute guru in this space, and he creates this. I think he creates one of the great relationships with our fans and banter that you're creating. And you've got to know the tone that you need to set on the different channels that you're engaging with. And I think we've found the right balance with across our different channels.
So then, so your social channels, and then you mentioned app as well. So you guys obviously got in control of the app. Where's that sit in your priority universe?
Well, we've had 125,000 downloads of the app, which is pretty significant. The app is an area that, and it's a space that's interesting. So I know we talked about it earlier, but 65% of users are going to the mobile site or the app. So the trend is significantly going towards mobile, so we need to make sure that we're continually servicing that and providing them with the content that they want when they go there. We do have some limitations with our app because, again, Telstra and the AFL provide us with the template to run it. So we're working really closely and pushing really hard, and the AFL, to their credit, are working with us to try and find solutions to improve the user experience, to improve the technology, to improve the innovation within our digital products. As you can imagine, it's a very big beast. 18 clubs plus the AFL, and the AFL Live app with live streaming through Telstra has been incredibly successful, and that's one of the reasons Telstra pays $300 million for the digital rights, because they know that they can go and commercialise the live stream, and that subscription model has been extremely beneficial for them in terms of ROI. I'd like to. We don't quite have the technology yet. Well, we're talking about stadiums before, the connectivity. I mean, it was only last year that the MCG got Wi-Fi. At three-quarter time at the footy, you couldn't make a phone call. And so the stadia in Australia, we're trying to catch up. We've got a long, long way to go. And I think one of the big problems is you've got to keep reinvesting in it. You've got to, almost every year, you have to invest in it. Otherwise, you very, very quickly get left behind. We need in-app purchases. We need to be able to order a beer and a pie from our seat and have it delivered. We need to be able to buy... We do. And we can't. And we need to be able to buy an Essendon scarf and a jacket and have it delivered to our seat. We need to be able to have the technology to go onto the Essendon app and see what's happening in the coach's box if we're in the stadium, or see what's happening on the bench, or see the umpire view, or whatever it might be. But we don't at the moment, and it's frustrating, but we're pushing hard.
Yeah, you have a look at the likes of, say, a Levi's Stadium in San Francisco. Yep. You're talking about. I think there's one Wi-Fi hotspot per 100 seats. It's got many of the features you were just talking about. Then there's a big capital expenditure that goes with this. You mentioned it before, and it's an ongoing thing. Is the issue who's going to pay it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Etihad Stadium's owned by a superannuation company, so they're looking after their profits. They're not really worried about the customer experience. They're worried about the dividends to their shareholders. So it's an interesting balance, and obviously the AFL is pushing hard. The AFL might purchase the stadium, and I think that would be an outstanding result. The only problem they've got is if they wait till 2025, they get it for nothing. So it's an interesting space at the moment that we're dealing with, and who funds it clearly is a big issue. Yeah, well, I just think what's most exciting for a sports fan is, we want to be taken beyond the broadcast. We want to be taken beyond the press conferences. So we need to now provide the fans with the opportunity to view that content when they want to view it. And I think that if we can get the technology right, we can get the platform right, and we can get the model right in terms of the commercialisation of it, there's a really significant opportunity in Australia because people are willing to pay for it. People are willing to pay for 6 camera views or to get a message from the Essendon coach at half-time delivered to their mobile phone through the app. They'll pay for that content.
Well, as we said the other day, they're already doing it, even if they have to cobble it together themselves.
That's right. And the broadcast can only take you so far. And people, no one can sit through a full game of sport without being engaged by a second or third screen. And I think that's the most exciting part about sport. Live sport is the great theatre, and that's never going to change. But I think what we can change is the way we view that live sport.